Hi, my name is Zoey Rachelle, and this is Journaling to Improve Your Mental Health. So I would just like to say this is the third time I'm recording this video. The first time I experimented with my camera. I have a Canon camera, but it's not one that has like a screen that flips out, It's the screen's just on the screen, and so I can't tell if it's recording well and if it's recording me clearly. And I think that the video that I recorded is blurry and I'm not 100% sure, and so I decided I would record a second video on my phone just to make sure. And I was using my back camera because my back camera has better quality. And then I finished the video only to flip over my phone and realize it only recorded the first 30 seconds. And the rest of it was me talking to no one. And so now I'm recording it with my front camera. Hopefully it's okay quality, but now I can actually see this recording. And I think I'm just going to stick to the front camera of my phone for ever, because, recording a video 3 times is a little bit repetitive, but journaling to improve your mental health. Okay, so my first 2 journals are obviously the ones that I made, or I've created and published on Amazon, and they're called Untangling the Thoughts Within and Releasing the Emotions Within. And they're very aesthetic, it's I really wanted to do aesthetic journals. And they have the little bee and the cute little font, and then the white side with the colored lettering, and it's so cute. But so I have 4 different types of journaling that to show, to kind of give you an idea of some different things that you can do to improve your mental health yourself. Obviously, if you are struggling with your mental health, if you're struggling with your mental health, it is good to talk to someone, especially I almost said diagnosed, a licensed professional. And if you need help, to get therapy. I am hypocritical for saying that because I've never gotten therapy before. However, I do think that is necessary a lot of the time. Journaling will be a good thing for you to do, and it could help you a lot. However, journaling is not going to solve all your issues. It could improve your state a lot, but it's not going to solve all your issues. And so if you do need to solve your issues, licensed professional, go to therapy. Yay. That aside, I feel before we get into the journals, just the idea of journaling, a lot of people stray away from for some reason. I feel a lot of people have a more negative view of journaling. They think it's for children, diaries vibes. They also, I feel a lot of people find it to be too much. And I feel the reason for that could be attributed to how they want it to be perfect. Whenever they're journaling, they want to do really cute handwriting. They want to make it look aesthetic. They want to do perfect grammar, make it sound cute. And it's yes, I am a person who likes making things look aesthetic and sound cute. However, whenever you're journaling, I feel it's best to just stray away from all that. I feel it's best to embrace chaos and chaotic emotions. I feel embracing chaos rather than focusing on perfection will help you a lot in your life. And I feel instead of trying to make it all look perfect all the time whenever you're journaling, I feel just writing would be so much better. And it is so much better, because if you just write down what you're thinking, if you just write, you will genuinely be surprised at what you discover about yourself. I always thought that people who said if you write without thinking, you will figure out things about yourself that you didn't know. And I really thought that was a lie, because it sounds weird, but it is true. I started journaling whenever I was 13, shortly before I started poetry. And I would do that. I would just write everything out, and then I'd read it back and I'd be surprised because I didn't know that I felt that way. And so, like, with that said, the first journaling type is just a generic journal, like a line journal. And so this journal, it has a date spot, and then it has just, lines. So you can just get it all out. There's no organization, there's no rhyme or reason. You just spill everything that you're thinking, everything that you're feeling. And I feel like that is really good for people who don't have a big support system, or who don't really have anyone to go to, or maybe if you're someone who doesn't really like talking about it out loud, then writing it all down would be really good, a really good way to like get everything out without speaking about it and without like talking or telling anyone. It will get it off your chest at least and get it out of your head. And so I feel like this journal is really good for that. Then there is the second type of journal, which is guided journaling. And so Untangling the Thoughts Within is my little cutesy guided journal. And in this one, it's the exact same as the other one, except it has prompts on it. And so I feel like these prompts are mental health type of prompts. They focus on stress and, sadness and things that upset you in your life. And they also have a bunch of other topics too, though. They talk about inner child work, inner work. And so it'll ask you about your inner child. It'll ask you, reflect on your relationships. It will ask you to write letters to your future child. You will write letters, a love letter to your body, a letter to your parents, a letter to the person who hurt you, that type of thing. But it also promotes positive thinking at the same time. It'll ask you some positive things in your life. It will give you some prompts to promote you figuring out coping skills and hobbies that would help you. And so there's a bunch of different prompts in here, like what is your earliest childhood memory? There's what do you do to heal your inner child? Who or what drains you? It says your. Like, I have mistakes in here too, but I honestly, I kind of appreciate whenever I make mistakes whenever I publish things, because it shows you that, like, the person who did it is human too. I like doing that. Like, I make mistakes in my poetry. Some of it is just, I don't really care about grammar rules whenever I write poetry a whole lot. And then some of it is like spelling mistakes. And I love doing that. I love that happens. Like, I change it if I see it, but I love that happens without me knowing, because it shows that I'm human too. And so when you're reading my poetry in my poetry book, The Chaos Within, you may see mistakes, and then you'll realize that the person who wrote it is a human too, and they're just like you. And I feel like that's really a cute idea. But yeah, I feel like journaling like this is good for people who want to write, but they just can't figure out what to write. They're not the type who can just write on a blank piece of paper. They need something to guide them. And so that's where guided journal comes in. Now, the next two types of journaling are kind of a stretch whenever we're talking about like journaling itself. The first one is less of a stretch. It is in a journal. This is a journal that my sisters saw at a store, and they thought it looked like me, and so they got it, and it is really cute and aesthetic. But it sat on my shelf for a long time, and I really didn't know what to do with it. And then I got an idea from someone to write poems and quotes in it. And so personally, I write other people's poems and quotes. I write poems from my favorite authors like Whitney Hansen, or I write poems that I find on TikTok, TikTok creators who post poetry. I also write quotes. Maybe it's quotes on Pinterest. Maybe it is book quotes or movie quotes. So I kind of just write a bunch of different types of writing, like every type of writing you can think of, which I do kind of write excerpts, but like not really like essays. I don't really write essays in here, but some of them are really small like that, and then some of them are, I was trying to find this one. Some of them are a lot longer. They may take up the whole page. And so I kind of just do that because this would be good for the type of people who want to write, like they want to write stuff that they relate to, you know, whether that's poetry or diary entries or whatever, but they aren't really good at writing. Like they aren't good at expressing themselves and stuff through writing. And this is good because it gets you to look at other people's writing, and it kind of serves as a purpose of how I want my poetry to serve. It's whenever I read poems or quotes from other people and I relate to them, then it really helps a lot, just because it shows that you're not the only one going through this. You know, it shows that you're not alone. And it also, like, it gives you a type of voice, I guess, and it gives you something to relate to, you know? And so I feel like that is really good, realizing that you're not alone in it and realizing that other people feel that way too. It really helps. And so this is a type that's like, you know, poems and quotes, you know, it's kind of a hobby, I guess, because it is just like writing your favorite poems from other people, you know, it is sort of a hobby, but at the same time, it is something that promotes mental health, or like more positive mental health. Like even if you're writing down something that's depressing, like it's serving this a similar purpose of like getting it all out, I guess. And then the last one is a sketchbook. And so this is kind of for people who they want to get it all out, right? But words aren't their thing. You know, they don't like writing their emotions out. They don't like poems and quotes, reading other people's emotions and relating to them. This is for people who don't like that. But maybe you like art, you know? Art is another form of self-expression. And so maybe it's pencil sketches, maybe it's abstract art, and the colors represent the emotions that you are feeling and expressing. Maybe it's even pottery, you know, or clay, like clay molds, you know, anything. Like any form of art can honestly be used as a form of self-expression. And so I feel like that is a hobby, obviously, you know, like art's a hobby, but it can also be something to express and improve your mental health. Though at the same time, if you look at just hobbies in general, hobbies are something that it's like honestly the last thing you want to do when you're depressed. It's, you know, when you're upset or, you know, like numb, drained, all the things, struggling with your mental health and feeling really low, you honestly, one of the symptoms is that you don't want to do anything. You know, you don't have the energy to practice any of your hobbies. But honestly, the thing that will help you the most and improve that state, you know, bring more positivity, is practicing your hobbies, you know, because it promotes productivity. And whenever you are more productive, then you feel good and you feel accomplished, and it kind of gives you some of the positives back into your mind and into your life. And so hobbies themselves do help a lot whenever you are struggling, though at the same time, art is not only a hobby, but it is a form of self-expression. So the journaling is a hobby too, as far as the poems and quotes writing down goes. Like that also, it promotes you to be productive, but that one, it doesn't require a lot of energy. And so, you know, it is something that you could do to be more productive whenever you're feeling low, that doesn't really require a lot of energy. And so my art, I really want to get into art, not really for mental health so much, but just like, you know, I just have a bunch of like random different things. I'm not a really good artist though, and I really want to improve that. I want to find a lot of hobbies, and one of the hobbies that I want to try is A, improving my pencil sketching, but really B, watercolor. I've seen so many different insane watercolor things, like watercolor art that's so cute, like people like doing animals and nature scenes, and it's adorable. And I really want to get into watercoloring like that. So yeah, there's definitely more than just this that will promote your mental health in a more productive way. But you know, journaling, like typical lined or guided journal, as well as writing down poems and quotes, and art, sketchbook, watercolor, you know, maybe something else like clay, you know, anything like that, abstract art, anything that would help. However, we're getting to get off track a little bit from the topic. I do have these journals because whenever I publish something, I would like to have it so that I can like hold it in my hand. You know, I like to make sure that it is how I want it to look and how I want it to be and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not using them right now. They're just sitting on my shelf because yes, I do journal a lot, but right now for like reasons, I'm journaling on my phone mostly. I do prefer writing it on paper, but I'm journaling on my phone right now. And I've done a lot of guided journals in the past, but I haven't done any and been into them lately for some reason. And so I have other purposes that I might use these books for. And so like this one is the line journal. And I'm thinking of making it into a cookbook because I'm probably going to move out pretty soon. Not really like soon, but like in the next like year or two probably. And so I feel like it would be good to write down a bunch of recipes, you know, maybe recipes that I'm familiar with that my parents have written down, maybe from their parents, maybe from them, or stuff that they've found that I'm used to eating. Maybe it is stuff from TikTok or Pinterest. You know, I'm really into looking into different culture foods that I've never heard of before, like especially a lot of like Asian foods. And so if I wrote a lot of that down, then I would be more likely to cook whenever I move out because I'll have recipes and stuff to like as inspo to like go off of, you know. And so I'm thinking of making this one like a really cutesy like Pinterest inspired cookbook with like, you know, the cute little like drawings or whatever on it and like the really aesthetic handwriting. And my guided journal, I'm thinking of using it as kind of like a poetry inspo guide type of thing to help me write more poetry and give me like ideas and prompts and stuff because I really need to write poems. But it's like, I mean, think about it. So my first book, The Chaos Within, I have written 300 poems, you know. My second book, I'm in the process of writing. I'm about 220 poems in. So that means I've written about 520 poems, and that's not even counting the ones that I didn't like and I trashed, or like I have in a trash folder. And so 520, right? I want to write 5 poetry books, each with 300 pages. That means 1,500 poems. So I still have like a little less than 1,000 poems to write in my lifetime in the next like, you know, 5-10 years, however long it takes me to publish all of them. And so it's really hard to write that many poems without having a bunch of repeats, you know. And so I feel like this will kind of help me with some ideas. Pinterest is also a big helper as far as that goes. But then also this having a bunch of different topics in it, it does have a lot of positive stuff in it, you know, like positive prompts. So maybe that will help me write some more positive poetry because I swear I'm incapable of writing positive poetry. I think maybe in the 300 poems in my first book, maybe like 10, if we're being generous, is positive. And so far, maybe like in the 220, again, maybe like anywhere from 5 to 15 are positive. And so it's like, I really want to get there eventually. I do want to start writing different types of poetry though, and kind of like expanding the types, you know, and the genres and the topics and that type of stuff as I write poems, you know, throughout my 5 books. I don't know if you can hear the airplane, but it's very loud. But yeah, I really think that journaling will be really good for your mental health. And I feel like I want to close this video ranting about something that's not even relevant at all. Like, okay, lately I've been really into kids books that are good for kids and adults. You know, like think of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I don't know if y'all know that book, but basically it's a picture book kind of with really simple aesthetic kind of drawings to it that follow these characters, a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse. And it gives good life lessons that are said very, very simply. And so it's very deep yet very simple. And so it's good for both kids and adults. And I really want to follow a similar idea and obviously make that my own and make like kids' books that give really good lessons. Maybe they tell a story, maybe they are just a bunch of, poetry quote type of deals with a bunch of sketches. But I really want to get more into art and then put my art into that book. And so I could write something different. Like whenever I was a kid, I wrote chapter books, and now obviously I'm writing poetry books, and I didn't publish any of the chapter books. Like, I don't really plan to. But, like, I wrote, like, hundreds, but, like, I think one is the complete, Like, I'm not really into chapter books that much anymore. Maybe I will be in the future. But for right now, I think that in the near or far future, I really want to write, like, get more into art and then write kids type of books with, like, really, really deep meanings and deep lessons to them that kind of teach people to, like, be good and be nice and include everybody, love everybody, like that type of thing. And I might also add, like, some very subtle mental health type of things in there. But yeah, I really want to look into that, and maybe that's not going to be anytime soon, but maybe it'll just be a hobby. I don't know. But I really want to kind of look into that. Like, that's something I've been interested in lately. But anyways, if you are struggling, if you need to improve your mental health, I do recommend journaling. Any type of journaling, any of the 4 types, anything that you can come up with that you see somewhere else. Like, journaling is amazing. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.